Okay, so I'll couple the two of them together, but I wanted to see if I could close that without it locking on me. I'll have to check that. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey there. How you doing?
Is there regular law enforcement here? No offense, not talking down to you guys. You guys
No
do a
worries.
valued job.
There are some like patrol police officers, but I wouldn't count on seeing one or hear
Okay.
much.
Cool.
Do you need help with something?
Well, I'm going to be protesting, and
Okay.
it's important that they realize that my sign is lawful. And even though people are going to get upset and angry at me, too bad. So
Okay. Where are you going to be protesting?
I'm going to be around. It depends on kind of where everybody is. I am going to protest the parade, so at some point I will move, but I'm probably going to go up there first to start.
Okay.
I'm friendly and polite, and you're more than welcome to have them come talk to me and whatnot. I know the rules very well. I'm not going to be yelling at people. I'm not going to be harassing people. I'm not going to be stopping them from moving and stuff. Stand there politely with my mouth shut, holding the sign. Right?
Okay.
Have a good day.
Very good.
Chicago.
What the Wayman's did for the Hebrews, gave them land up on Essa, Chula Vista.
Oh no, she probably. Hey man,
All right.
she probably won't speak the way.
Sorry. No, it's not. Also says this.
Oh my God.
Pardon me. Sorry. Pardon me. So I'm just doing a courtesy walk, just trying to find a cop before I do anything, just to show my good intent to prevent issues. Courtesy walk, looking for cops. Don't see cops. I talked to him if I could. I'm just gonna go hold the side street corner. Do you?
Well, I'm just wondering, do you?
Nope. I go. There's no drug addicts in this. None of that. Mm-hmm. Hello.
You don't belong here.
Okay.
My kid can consent if they want to.
No, they
Guess
can't.
what?
Children
This
can't
stupid
consent
law
to
that
that.
they're trying to pass, the law 185 or whatever it is, where pedophiles can do whatever they want to children.
Sorry?
Trans kids can consent.
No, they can't.
You don't belong
Neither can
here.
Kids can't consent to sex either, you monster.
You don't belong here.
You think kids can consent to sex? Pervert. It isn't even about the sign on that one. She just told me kids can consent to sex. It's disgusting.
I don't know it's actually legal to have sex when you're a child if it's with someone of your same age.
So Jack and Jill laws, I'm okay with those. That's fine. If, like a 15-year-old sleeping with a 16-year-old, I'm not
is
going to
legal.
persecute them. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That's Jack and Jill laws. It's about trying not to. I think it's okay for kids that are 16 to consent to sleep with another 16-year-old, but it's
Of course,
different than
and
some.
that is completely legal. But what about your son? What does it mean?
So I don't think that.
Okay,
I
I
don't.
just want to ask you something.
Please?
What do you do for a living?
I'm a cabinet maker.
You're a cabinet maker.
Yes, I'm a fine furniture maker.
Yeah? And are you very popular?
Irrelevant.
Do you have a business card?
I'd like to continue my discussion with
It's
her.
okay, I want to help her too. Do you have a business card?
I'm open about my
I'm
identity.
just confused on what the message you're trying to send
So
is.
the
I would
message-
like your business card
I'm
because I
happy-
would like your customers to know that you are hateful.
How about you record me giving you my name and my last name? I'm happy
You're
to
a
do
piece
that.
of shit and you
Good
don't
for
belong here.
So I'm happy to answer your question.
What? Yeah.
The
it's
reason,
not-
the whole point of the sign is that I don't think that children can consent to the medical procedures that are involved until they're of age.
Not to mention, I
What-
hope you know
what
a
do you
lot
mean?
of kids kill themselves because they can't get the hormone.
That's emotional blackmail, and I don't
What do you
accept
mean?
that.
So them doing it to themselves, that's just emotional
So
blackmail.
if you said to your boyfriend that you would,
Fear! Love over fear! Love over fear!
Okay.
Love over fear! Love over fear! Love over fear!
I'm not opposed to love.
Over fear! Love 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 over fear! You're just mad that you've never been asked by a woman!
oh yeah,
You
yeah,
can't go pussy. We
Yeah.
The most proximity you've ever been to a vagina was at your birth, bitch!
yeah. The 6'6" guy
Holy
never
shit.
touched a vagina before. Uh-huh.
More bitches than this guy does.
Oh my God, that's the only insult they can have. Oh, good Lord. I'm being barked at. Mhm. 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 you like to talk about it? I'm friendly.
What do you mean by trans kids can't consent?
So my issue isn't with transgender people making decisions when they're of age. My issue is that we're pushing it onto impressionable children.
They're not.
Now, let me.
No. See, I do this professionally for a living, and you're just completely wrong. And I'm actually really disgusted to see you here.
Okay.
That's really sad that you're here trying to protest trans youth.
What do you disagree that I said? I'm happy to engage with you. If you do it professionally, then engage with me. I'm friendly and I'm willing to listen to you.
Well, kids can. The thing is, that's why parental consent is necessary.
I need you to speak. I'm hard of hearing. Can you speak up just a little? I'm happy to engage with you. I'm happy to engage. I just can't hear you, man. So at my core, I'm a free speech protester. By all means, I encourage this.
No bitches, no dick, no nothing.
I really love that.
I'm not going to give my phone number because you'll harass me, but I'll give you my name and the city I live in. Robert McFarland of Stainer, Ontario.
Robert McFarland of Stainer, Ontario. What's the name of your business?
It's with an E at the end, not a D.
Okay, it's an E at the end. And what is your business?
The medical procedures until they're 18.
Sorry, what is your business?
Yeah, and I don't think that's appropriate.
What is your business?
I'm a cabinet maker.
What's your company name?
Mind your business.
Oh, this is my business. These are my children.
Uh-huh. You can find me if you like.
I'm pretty sure I was there when I consented to my own surgery.
Yes, you can't consent to things done when you're under 18.
I can't.
You can do so now.
I can make my own decision.
I don't know, ask yourself in the mirror.
Why are you wasting your time being here? You're wasting your time.
I'm a free speech protester. I do this to ensure people who want to do this can.
Sir, I suggest you look at the gender. I suggest you look at childhood development, because when you're looking statistically, children who are over the age of 3 generally have an understanding of over 90% accuracy of their gender. So that's something that I think you have a fundamental misunderstanding of childhood development.
What about the 10% of them? Shouldn't they wait until they're... Hold on. No, I'm asking a question about a consent. Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Sorry.
Don't touch me.
But can you look at the camera?
I'm happy to do it, but don't ever touch me again or I'm going to fucking throw you in traffic for touching me. That's fine. Holding a sign is acceptable in society. I know you don't like this. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. Did you take it? I didn't mean to deny that. Did you take the photo?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's why children who are...
Yes, please don't touch me. No.
Or with that security
Go ahead. I have a fundamental right to stand on a street corner with a sign. I encourage protest.
I know, I'm a faggot, so this is really great for me.
For what it's worth, I'm very pro-LGBT. I support your choice. There's a huge difference between attraction and a difference in perception of self. No, they're very...
You're not pro-LGBT?
No, I'm not pro-LGBT. I'm pro-LGBT. There is a difference.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no,
There is a difference.
I'm non-binary.
I'm non-binary. I'm 16.
If you're accepting, then you're accepting to all, not just specifically.
So there's a fundamental difference between a difference in attraction and a difference in your perception of
but
self.
you can be accepting of others.
I could be, yes. I could be, yes. To be clear, just to be clear, I'm very pro-LGB.
No, you're not.
I did not cheat, did I? So I'm a free speech protester. It's important that, yep, sure. It's important. You have the right to counter-protest my protest, but you don't have a right to remove me from the public square.
Don't give him the time.
I'm engaging quite politely and intelligently.
Leave this asshole alone.
Okay?
Why do you feel the need to place your input, though?
So I'm a free speech protester at my core. I'm here to
understand
ensure
that.
that people who feel this way feel safe to do so.
But unfortunately, with your protest, it's hateful.
Anybody feel unsafe here is you.
I think you guys are attempting to threaten and intimidate me off the street corner. People could say it differently.
Because you're antagonizing.
Because you don't like my speech. How is standing on a street corner silently holding a sign? Sorry, I apologize. I didn't mean to-
I'm so sure you're fucking sorry, small dick.
It's the back of my hand.
Yeah, sure. No bitches, no nothing. The fucking closest you've been to a woman is when you came out of your fucking mom. But she doesn't even fucking love you anymore. So pack it the fuck up. If your fucking mama doesn't love you, bitch, no one will. Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good, yourself.
I'm good. It's hot.
Would you like to engage with me about the sign?
Not particularly.
Okay.
We have this space blocked out specifically. Can I ask you to just move across the street? Would that be okay with you?
No.
You don't have to accept us. You don't have to love us. Just mind your
Hold back.
fucking business.
I love everybody, and I think I'm encouraging
What you
people to have
doing
that
this is not an act of love.
I
This is not
disagree.
love. This is hate. This is pure hate. What you are doing is hate. This is
disagree.
not love.
I
This is
disagree.
not love.
I
What you're
disagree.
doing here, this is not freedom. This is not a powerful message.
I
What you're
disagree.
doing is discrimination.
I disagree. Saying that trans
Whoever
kids,
thinks this is wrong, say aye.
of course they're going to say
Aye.
aye. That's not a surprise.
I said whoever thinks this is wrong, say
This
aye.
isn't discriminating on anybody. It's stopping
You
children
are.
from
That's what
consenting
you
to
are.
medical
So many
devices.
trans kids.
No,
Look at
you
that
can't
poster
hold
and
my
be like,
son.
wow, what the fuck is wrong with that man?
You do know what no means.
Pardon me?
You do know what no means.
Of course.
We don't want you here.
I don't care.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a right to
was
stand in the public
11,
square and
and
express
I know
myself
who I
publicly.
was. Like, fuck you.
Well, I hope you're happy with yourself. Yeah.
Not a fucking
I'm okay with
face.
that. This is an important thing for us to be able to do in society, is to express an opposing view.
Can I ask you a question?
I'm happy to engage with you. I'm a little hard of hearing, so can you please speak up? I won't think you're yelling at me. I'm happy to speak up. Please don't threaten violence. I have to respond to that. I'm sorry. Hey, brother.
Smoke. And I don't know.
Sir,
Happy with yourself. 'Cause you're
you understand by raising your arm, people would be intimidated from holding a sign, right? You understand that's a threat of violence, that people would feel intimidated,
I
right?
need something randomly.
Right.
Wait, well, yeah.
Terrorism isn't funny, buddy.
Why? There you go.
I'm happy to answer. I don't know how to answer. Can you?
Why do you think they can't consent?
So, for the most part, I don't think that children can consent to something that would be so drastically impactful of their bodies and having such a long-term viewpoint. I think even things like hormone blockers, for example, don't have any long-term studies. There could be some substantial side effects and stuff that we don't really know about. I think it's important that we do tests on a lot of these medical things, but regardless, I don't think that children can consent to those sort of procedures.
Do you have children, sir?
No, I don't.
I have 3.
Okay.
And one of my children is trans.
Okay.
And the only reason that she is still here today is because of interventions that we've been able to put into place. Because up until we were able to intervene and get her the help that she needed to express herself,
Yes.
she attempted suicide as a child at the age of 5
I'm
3 times.
really sorry to hear that.
So
I don't want to. I hope you understand.
All I'm saying is, and I'm not
Please,
here
you're
to
engaging
fight,
fairly. I like this engagement, so please,
but
thank you.
exactly. I
Continue,
just want
continue.
you to understand that as a parent of 3, one being trans, they can consent and they do consent when it is their body. Because in order to make a choice to attempt something like that when they're unable to express themselves freely, that's also their ability to consent to their own body.
But we don't allow children to consent to any other sort of major surgery.
If a kid
But
wants
that is
a hug,
but that is the problem. In the United
I'm happy to
States,
engage with you. I'm really enjoying
in the
this
United
conversation. Please
States,
wait. I'm happy to talk.
and in North America right now, we have evidence and we have science that's showing that we are implementing plastic surgery on children the ages 8 to 13.
And I think that's wrong.
But that's what's being done.
Yes, and I'm arguing against that.
I know, but what I'm saying is they're not consenting to those procedures, but they can consent.
I don't
They can
agree.
consent to hormone blockers.
Can,
They
can kids consent to have their legs cut off?
But that is not a form, that is a medically necessary procedure just as is transition.
So that's where it comes down to where there's some difference of opinion. And that's really where it comes down to the ability to express the sign. And allow me to talk for 1 second here, because I think you have to understand what I'm really doing here as a core is that while I firmly believe in this, so don't think that I'm causing shit for nonsense. At a core, I'm a free speech advocate. And what you're saying is that the current opinion, the current consensus, so to speak, is that this is necessary. But there's a lot of people who disagree. There's a lot of people who want to express an alternative opinion, especially when it comes to the science and the data, and they're being prevented from doing so because of the intimidation that you just saw around me for people who are trying to protest
The
their
reason
opinion.
that they're protesting against
And I'm okay with that,
is
but-
because as North Americans and as Americans, there is hate against us, and there is a war against us, and there is crime against us. And as a
Yes.
transgender person myself with a transgender child, I am telling you that we are not safe.
I completely agree.
But
I
things
don't
like this
encourage
to
hate
say
or
that
harm
they
against
can't
anybody.
consent, I don't think is fair. I think that they can consent, and I think that it's a matter of personal experience.
I
And I
disag-
think until you have that personal experience, you don't have the ability to voice for those children.
I don't think that children.
Can I just answer that question really simply?
Which question?
The one that
Sure.
you can't engineer people. They're going to be what they're going to be. And if they're going to
Correct.
be trans, they're going to be trans. If they're going to be normal. So this has absolutely no merit.
Well, I disagree, because why can't they make those same decisions if what you said is that they never change? Why can't they make that decision when they're 18 and able to consent?
Because they won't
What
make
difference
it to
does it make?
18, sir.
But why can't we get
Because they will kill themselves before they get to that point.
So allow
Why
me
do
to
they have to
respond to
wait
that.
till they're 18?
Allow me to respond to that because children can't consent to serious medical issues.
It's
let me
not a
push back on
medical
that.
issue. It's a
I
normal
don't.
human issue.
I'm talking about the medical procedures involved with transitioning, gender affirming care.
Be what they're going to be.
Pardon me, miss?
The medical age of consent.
I'm sorry. I try to gender people appropriately. I took a guess. Sorry.
Consent in Ontario is 12 years old, and there's a reason for it.
Which is?
12-year-olds are well informed enough that they can make their own decisions.
I vehemently disagree.
At 12 years old,
Would you let a 12-year-old cut off their leg?
If it was
no,
medically
that's entirely
necessary,
different.
absolutely.
But yes,
I disagree. I
medically
disagree that
necessary.
transitioning is medically necessary
It is.
below
It
the
is.
age of
So
18.
why aren't you out
is.
protesting against Jehovah's Witnesses who can't have blood transfusions? Their kids can't make up their own mind?
Why aren't you going out
So why
protesting?
picking this?
I'm sorry. Can you rephrase that question?
Sure, Jehovah's Witness kids can't
Yes.
get blood transfusions. Why do they not get to choose?
I think that that's parental abuse, and I think that the parents should be arrested for that.
Why aren't you out
Totally.
No,
protesting?
no. I'm talking about the parents not giving the blood transfusion to the children. You would admit that's child abuse, preventing the child from getting the blood transfusion. Yes?
They're going to be what they're going to be.
No, but I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with you about Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't understand why you're
Let
confused.
them be. Like,
I am.
why
I'm just
we
saying they
here?
can wait till they're 18.
Why 18?
Because I'm a free speech
Besides
protester.
18.
There's a lot of people who feel this view, and I want to make sure that unfortunately that's society. There's a lot of things that people don't want to hear in society. I am grown up. You need to grow up with society and recognize that people can say things that you don't like. I was really enjoying the conversation with you, sir, and I'd like to continue it if I can. I'm sorry, did I misgender you? Person. Okay.
I'm a non-binary person.
If I misgender you, I apologize in advance, and I'm not trying to do so intentionally. So please correct me.
I understand.
And how would you like to be addressed?
Person as well.
Person? I'll do my best. Thank you.
So I just wanted to provide you with an alternate view from somebody who has personal experience with my own personal children.
Good. That's what I like to see when I do these protests, is people coming and talking to me, engaging with me politely. So thank you.
And I think having that exposure to those resources and having the accessibility to those resources is how they're going to make it to 18.
Correct. If
They're
I'm-
not going to make it to the age of consent that you believe it should be. Because right now it's 12. It's
Yes.
not 18. So
If
they're
I may?
not going to make it to that point because they're not going to want to.
So if I may?
Of course.
First of all, I'm going to say 2 points here. First of all, I don't really like the comment of if you don't allow us to do this, they're going to kill themselves.
They will, though.
I understand that, but to be fair, that's emotional blackmail. And now, hold on, allow me to finish. I know that you want to cut in, but let me finish. It would be the same
It's
as
not
if a...
blackmail if it's already happened.
75%.
Sorry?
75% of trans kids who go through medical transitions, it saves their lives.
Okay. Why can't they do it when they're 18?
Because they won't
Because
make it.
they don't
So
make
I'm
it.
in favor of conventional psychotherapy for children who have gender dysphoria to get them to the age of 18 where they're able to have that support there. But I draw the line at them receiving hormone blockers and any sort of surgery or care.
It is the puberty which drives them to that point.
Yes, I understand that that's a sticky point, and I understand why. So don't think that I'm ignorant about what you're trying to do with the hormone blockers.
I'm open to your opinion.
But I think that it really falls into the consent issue. And I would be a lot more open to hormone blockers if there was some long-term studies about them to show that there was no side effects. And when you
there have
no,
been,
there really
and
hasn't
I am-
been.
There have been, yes, puberty
I'm
blockers
standing-
have been used
Sorry?
for cisgender kids for
Well,
decades.
there could certainly be study. There could. Well, yeah.
There
Studies
have been
been
studies.
done
There
on,
have been.
on
So
non-trans
I'm
kids
gonna
for
I
decades.
want to respond to you, but I also really want to respond to him. Just because a doctor can't prescribe a subject to their patients doesn't mean that the medical community can't do research on it. They can still have select things granted by the well, animal testing would be a good way of doing it to start, but sure.
The problem that we're facing.
Well,
Yeah.
well, you're welcome. Yes. Sorry. Yeah.
So I am a study. I did receive hormone blockers. There have been no long-term side effects
Glad to hear
besides the fact that I'm standing here alive.
I'm glad to hear that.
And I did the same for my child.
Good. And I hope you understand that hormone blockers is really that health issue for me. Is that there really hasn't been a whole lot of long-term studies. If you have one, I'm happy to look at it. I haven't seen any, and I'm very well informed about the subject.
This is puberty. It means early puberty. It's a medical condition that some children experience, and puberty blockers were invented for that purpose.
Okay.
So they've actually been around for decades. They're
So-
not new.
so
there
we
are
still-
studies.
So there are studies that have
Yes.
long-term effects with a decent
Yes.
amount of people in them?
Yes.
Can you name them?
I don't have an encyclopedia in my brain
So
right now,
the
but
issue,
if
please
you
don't
look
touch my
up
sign.
puberty-
Yeah, keep your hands to yourself.
What? What's wrong? It's just a sticker.
No, she can't put stuff on my
It's just a
sign.
sticker.
You know, everyone, today is your day.
I'm really enjoying this conversation. Don't shut down my conversation.
We're not, but we're just saying
Parade is starting
Well,
soon.
she's shutting down my
I feel
conversation.
honored to hold this
to
sign.
have an open mind.
I'm not
at an
being
organization
derogatory.
like
I'm
this.
just saying that the parade is starting
And
soon.
I came here to have a discussion. So are you saying that or shutting down my discussions?
You don't need to be rude to me. I'm not being rude to you.
I'm not being rude to
I
you.
know that your parade is starting soon, so
English words are not
I'm
being
going
rude
to
to
go
you.
man my booth.
like how
I
you were
appreciate the
holding the
conversation that we
Thank you for
had,
being
but I
polite.
want you to understand something.
Yes.
You have to open up your mind to scientific studies before you can voice an opinion.
You're a real cunt for doing that.
Thank you.
Pathetic bitch. Pathetic bitch.
Watch it. I think I agree.
Watch it. Fuck you.
You say that to a bunch of random 13-year-olds. I bet you feel like a big man.
Ma'am, I'm sorry. I'm hard of hearing. I'm happy to talk to you. I just need you to speak up a bit for me, okay?
Yeah.
Please.
I think I agree with your point, but
I seriously can't hear a word you're saying. Just speak up. I'm not going to think you're yelling at me.
I think I agree with your point, but I think you're in the wrong place.
Okay.
I think it's just let them have their day. It's okay. I think nobody here is grooming anybody. I think the pride is a different purpose.
So
I think it's focusing on. I know the debate and so on, and I think it's just focusing on the wrong spot when you go into pride.
So, yes, and I understand your perception of that. And I want you to understand that there's something you're missing on why I'm doing this that would make more sense. So I'm a free speech protester. There are a lot of people who feel this way, that feel intimidated from holding this on the street corner.
Yeah.
So by doing this,
wanna
I want to make sure that people feel comfortable, know that there's other people that are doing this and can do so. Because if you saw the level of intimidation that was around me, there's a lot of people that would not be okay with it. That would be instantly intimidated, little old ladies, little old men.
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, I was already assaulted once. You vandalized my sign.
It's also like it's
The cops
their
don't do
party.
shit.
It's their party.
Yeah, good for
So
them.
just let it be. It's okay.
Respectfully,
I don't
no.
think it's the right.
I understand, but that's also what I'm doing. At least I have some.
It's like do your thing, but I think before it gets into a ruffle or whatever, or people getting mad.
Well, if anybody wants to assault me, they can go to jail for assaulting a peaceful protester.
Well, then it's okay. If you say you're going to remain peaceful yourself.
Absolutely. I do this all over Ontario. I protest quite a bit for different subjects. That's what I said is I'm a free speech protester.
Okay.
So I hold signs to say, fuck the police on the street corner to ensure that we have the right to do so, stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
That's your thing. You just go places and hold up your sign. And...
Exactly. I'm a free speech protester.
Okay.
Like I said, this is all about ensuring that we have the right to do so.
Yeah.
Because, it's like I said, there's a lot of citizen intimidation.
No. I hear you. I hear you on that. I find that I support, but I always think there's a place at the moment, and this is all about just having a nice party day.
So I understand.
It's not about grooming.
I understand, but where would be a more appropriate time and place to do this other than a giant public festival discussing the subject?
Yeah.
Where would be the more appropriate place?
Yeah. But I wonder if that should better come out of the movement itself, because there are people who are in pride who are not agreeing with
gays against groomers and stuff.
So, there is movements in there who are probably more in the movement itself.
Yes.
And who
and that's where I had a very interesting discussion with a trans man who had his breast cut off, and he was here talking to me, and he's like, well, you can't be pro-LGBT if you're hating on trans. And I'm going, yeah, I absolutely can be. And I said, because it's a huge difference. I said, one is a difference of attraction, and the other is a difference in your perception of yourself. There's a huge difference between the two of them. And I think that it's grossly disrespectful to LGBT people for the coattail riding that the trans community has done.
Yeah, no, well, that's what I mean. But then it's also what you're doing is also bringing it all to that topic again, where you're like, okay, actually, that's just a small topic. It's and then making it so big for a festival like that, where it's more about other things.
It's amazing that there's so much talk going on when it's such a small
it's just really
it's 1%.
Yeah,
1%.
It's just like that small.
Now I'll give you an interesting thing, just because you said totally different subject. How many percentage of the population do you think works minimum wage?
Minimum wage?
Works minimum wage. What percent of the population works minimum wage? No idea? Take a guess. It's a funny thing. I'll just tell you.
20%?
I would go 50.
3.5%.
3.5?
So when you hear stuff like that, or say 50, you say 20, there's a lot of people who go, oh, half the population's earning minimum wage. No. Now keep in mind, it's probably like 25% or close to minimum wage, or underpaid, or something like that. So I'm not saying the economy's not shit, but there's a lot of people out there who think that it is 50% of people working minimum wage. It was just like you said, there's a lot of people think that gay and LGBT is like fucking 25% of population, and it's like, I think LGBT total is 5, and then trans is like 0.5%, 1%, something like that. So.
Well, but what I mean is more like what that focuses on the trans, and like on these trans kids actually, like on a very specific and most of them have nothing to do with that specific. It's like for them, it's about something else, and then it's kind of like you focusing on that one thing in pride that it's. Whereas you're like, oh, I don't agree with that one.
Anti-child mutilation.
The problem is how many words it is on the sign. Because I do this quite a bit, I hear a lot of suggestions like that. Well, why don't you have this wordy long thing? It's like, man, because cars driving past, they can't read 9, 10 different words and try to put it together, right? So it's got to be short and sweet and pithy. It's got to be
pro-gay, anti-child groomer.
Well, sure. Then you just get, you know what? You just get a rainbow flag and put it over that one. Then you keep the rainbow flag because it's pro-LGBT.
No, that's not bad.
And then you keep your side.
And that was what I was walking to, is that I'm not against LGBT people, so I can't have something. It has to be something trans-specific. And to be honest, if they're over the age of 18, a lot of my concerns go away. Where it's like, listen, if you want to fuck up your life when you're 18, who am I to say anything? Right? Like, I'm not going to make you stop you from getting kidney implants or cut your fucking leg off or... Hi there.
Oh, sorry, my love, I didn't mean to step in. I'm just going to get that to you. So this is some information. There are some trainings and stuff that we offer through our Safer Spaces program that can help contextualize some of that information for you. So what we do is we do a lot of training around what it means for the LGBTQ community as well as the trans community. So I do support a lot of trans youth in my work, but it helps contextualize and explain. So when someone is trans, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to go through hormone replacement therapy at a young age.
And I'm okay with you. And I'm okay with you giving them sort of support and stuff like that. Where I draw the line is medical procedures, hormone blockers, taking cross-sex hormones and natural surgeries and stuff like that. Absolutely, kids should not be able to consent with that. If all you're doing is giving them a safe place, giving them counseling, and giving them help, even though you're affirming it, which I don't agree with, I don't really have a huge problem with it. You're trying to.
But I'll just pass this on to you, just because it is a little bit of information that helps contextualize. Because I know for myself and for a lot of people, it is about understanding and getting a good kind of grasp on those sorts of things. But I'm not against what you're saying either. I mean, everybody is allowed to have their own opinion and their own views on things, just as long as it doesn't harm anyone else. That's kind of what we're about.
Exactly. I don't want you to take this in an offensive manner. I don't really have the time to come to Barrie in order to attend one of those things.
No, it's all online, and it's self-directed, self-guided from your home on your computer at your own time, whenever you like. And this is a promo code that will make it cheaper for you.
Oh, it costs me money?
Without that, yes, but that is your promo code.
So this should be free then? Okay, because I'm not paying a dime for it. Okay. Thank you, though. You were very polite. Have a great day.
What's your name? My name is Champagne.
My name is Robert. Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
Okay.
Seems pretty simple.
Well, that's like...
Yeah. Well, and that's what I mean, is that a lot of people came by initially and tried to intimidate me off the corner. And then they realized that he's just going to stand here and talk to us.
Yeah.
And he's just standing here talking to people. I'm not screaming at anybody. I'm not harassing people. Why are you
personally interested? Do you know anyone that this happened to?
No, I have friends who have kids that are trans, and they're not of the age where I think it's even close to appropriate. Like, I mean, I have some understanding of a 14-year-old or a 15-year-old. It's like, yeah, you're pretty close. Like, I'm talking like a fucking 5-year-old. And I'm like, man, you can't do that to a 5-year-old. They can't. Like, it's like a vegan cat. We know who's making that decision.
A vegan cat.
Right? We know who's making that decision, right? So it's like, so for me, it's like, and what makes me really sick is that, and a lot of people deny this, but I've seen the fucking videos and stuff, but like the drag queen story times with the fucking nudity and the sexual or gyration.
Sponsored by the government.
That sort of shit is starting to make me really push back on this stuff. So for me, it's like, it really truly, and for a lot of people, it really truly is about the kids. And I don't think anybody would give a fuck if it was the adults.
That's the only reason I care at all. I don't
Me too.
care.
And that's what I just said, right? Is that if you're 18...
You see the people now coming out enough times past that are regretting it. Like the Chloe girl and the Jordan
just
Peterson
put the rainbow flag
and,
on top and then you have it.
What's her name? Jazz Jennings. Yeah, she's regretting it now. Tim Pool's been talking about how he's been trying to reach out to the mom and being like, listen, if you don't get your daughter or son or some help, she's going to kill herself. Yeah. Like, you can see it in every one of the shows that she's doing. She's really struggling with it, and the mom's oblivious. And it's like, you got to get her some fucking help. And that's what I was saying to the very nice trans guy or person who came up and was talking to me and the males. And I said to him, like, yeah, it's great, we didn't have any problems, but we haven't done any serious long-term testing on these hormone blockers and stuff. And I don't think that children should be able to consent to serious stuff that they can't take back. And that's why I'm kind of okay with hormone blockers. If it works the way it says it does, and I don't think it does, and I think that there's all kinds of side effects and things that people don't want to talk about, like growth platelets, the way your bones fuse, your ligaments and tendons, and all the shit that goes on like that. So, you know, when you try to listen to Joe Rogan when he talks about the difference in hormone blockers and stuff like that. And that's a man who has a kinesiology degree, I think, and he's done a lot of physical combat training and stuff. He knows his stuff. So when I hear them talking about the stuff that the hormone blockers do, I'm kind of iffy on it. So I understand some people have had some positive experiences with it, and I understand the hesitation that they're in, where it's like, listen, if I go through puberty, it makes everything worse for me. I get it. I really do. That's tough to let me have a kid consent to that. That's difficult.
Yeah, well, exactly. We have, like, in law, you're a juvenile, you're not processed because you don't have the mental capacity for crime. So you're a juvenile, you know?
Well, and that's what really irks me, too, is it's like, how many of these people would not be okay with something serious that they're consenting to, but then they'll turn around and just be like, yeah, you can take cross-section hormone, you cut up your tits and cut up your balls and cock and fucking turn it inside out and all kinds of shit. And it's like, oh yeah, but once you're over 18, if you regret that, who are you going to sue? You can't sue anybody. You consented to it. It's like,
yeah, right.
And that's why it came out when it was like, I understand you. I get your point. I absolutely agree. But that's like, it's time and place, and that's where like, just get your rainbow flag, stick it over that sticker that person gave you, and then you have your message clear. Like, it's okay.
Yeah,
it's just about that.
Well, if anything, and this goes back to what I had said about the short and sweet sign that's provocative, if anything, if I had something that was that clear, I wouldn't get a lot of people talking to me. I wouldn't get a conversation. I wouldn't get a dialogue. Like, that guy was shocked that I was talking to him in a calm, controlled, educated, and respectful manner. You could tell that he was like, oh, he's actually talking to me. Like, he's not just screaming hate at me or something. And that's what a lot of people get caught off guard with. That's what made the girls leave. Is they're like, he's not just going to stand here and scream hate. We're not going to get a TikTok video or a Instagram video of some bigot screaming at us. They're not going to record me standing here talking about reasonable subjects and reasonable points to people, right? That's what they don't want.
Well, okay.
All right. Well, cheers.
Be safe.
Have a good day.
Be safe. Thank you for the kind words.
What does the back of your sign say?
I'm a little bit hard of hearing. Can you just speak up for me, please?
What does the back of your sign say? Okay.
Yes, I think it's wrong for people to be pushing these sort of ideas onto impressionable youth. And I do think that there's a certain level of people who are doing it for social support and stuff like that, and it's not really able to be taken back from. And don't worry about your friends. I'm being polite. And I just want to engage in good dialogue.
What exactly does that mean?
So I don't think that children are able to consent to the serious medical procedures to the medication that's involved with gender transitioning or gender affirming care. I think that they should wait until they're 18. I'm okay with them getting standard psychological care, counseling, what have you, everything to keep them safe. I just don't think that they should be able to consent to the serious medical procedures until they're of age. And I think that's quite a reasonable position to have.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Thank you.
Because I was about to say, everyone's like, all of them.
Well, I think that there's a level of respectfully, of mental illness when it comes to trans people. And I think that I don't think affirming the illness is a good thing. But once you're above the age of 18, a lot of my complaints kind of go out the window because you're a consenting adult. So I don't really have I wouldn't put my foot down and demand that it should be illegal. But if it was my kid or my family member, I'd be like, I really think you should push back against this. I don't think it's a really good idea type of thing, right? And I do that to anybody. And I think that's reasonable.
Yeah, for my family, it's more just like think it over and then, you know,
Yes.
because my mom doesn't really care.
And I think that that's kind of my point when it gets to 18 is like, yeah, think it over. Really make sure it's what you want. Really think it through because you can't take it back.
Yeah, because there are some people that are like after it all, they just like completely throw it out the window.
The issue that I see a lot is that a lot of people are going through these procedures thinking that it's going to be a panacea to other underlying issues like depression or suicidality or something. And when it doesn't resolve those issues, they unfortunately harm themselves. Hello.
Yeah, I've just completely accepted the fact that I'm just clinically depressed for all of these.
and I wish you the best in your plight with that.
All right, thank you for explaining to me.
No worries. Have a great day, miss.
You as well.
Thank you for being polite, ladies. Do you have questions, sir?
So I just paid right after that one. Yeah, the one right over there. Yeah. Oh, completely dead! Oh my No, it's because last time we interacted, like I'm so sorry. Yeah, that's cool. I love it. Oh my god. Yeah, now that I remember who you are, I recognize
Do you have the time, brother? Thank you, sir. Sorry, I'm not trying to be in your way.
Come on. So, yeah.
What's up?
What's up? Like, look, maybe if you're wrong, if it's not
I'm a little-
consenting after. Oh.
I'm a little hard of hearing. I just need you to speak up. I'm not trying to be a dick. I was a bouncer for.
I'm a trans kid.
I was a bouncer for a decade. I'm a little hard of hearing. I'm not going to accuse you yelling at me. Just speak up a little bit for me, please. I'm hard of hearing. I want to engage with.
Yeah.
Because
not
I asked.
worth it.
Because I asked you to
He
speak
knows
up.
what he's doing, and that's hurtful and hate.
Because I asked you to.
He knows better.
Everybody here knows that.
We all know better. That's
Because
why
I
we're
asked you to
that's why
speak
we're not
up?
engaging you.
How ignorant are you? Because I asked you to speak up because I'm hard of hearing? That's a disability.
No. Oh, see, there's another. Oh, that's a disability.
I'm hard of hearing. I asked you to speak up so I could engage
That's
with
not
you.
the problem.
So what
You're
is-
hearing me, right?
Now I am, yes, because there's no vehicles going behind me.
Oh, well,
Would you like to ask me about my
Oh,
sign?
man, that's not fair. That's intellectually dishonest on three counts so far.
Are you asking me to speak up?
Yeah, then it draws. You're here to talk, but he won't talk because he's hard of
Well, I
hearing.
think anybody 18 would
Yeah,
be adults,
they're
so there
not.
wouldn't be kids.
So, you know, yeah.
No, I'm happy to engage with you, but
Sure, that's not a hurt.
all right, stay ignorant. Dumb fuck.
What does your sign mean?
Well, I don't think that children under the age of 18 are capable of consenting to any sort of medical procedure or medication towards gender-affirming care. I think that it's a serious decision that they should wait until they're adults for. I support them getting any sort of other psychological care, counseling, and what have you. I just don't think that they are capable of consenting to those sort of procedures.
Okay.
So the actual surgical thing.
Well, or hormone blockers,
Any of that
or
stuff.
medication, or cross-hormone, sex hormones, stuff like that.
I understand.
Thank you, miss. I appreciate you guys being polite. And for what it's worth, I'm very pro-LGB. Let people love who they want. I don't care.
that already.
Thank you, miss.
That has to be the fucking dumbest sign I've ever seen.
Okay.
Did you know that gender identity is formed in kids by the time they're 5 years old?
Then
Which
they
means
can-
by the time kids are 5 years old, they know exactly if they're male or female.
And then they can wait until they're 18.
I just said 5 years old. Are you fucking dumb?
Well, you're not obviously looking to engage in this in good faith, so go away.
Excuse me, you're standing at a fucking pride parade with a hater sign. Wait, you don't want to fucking communicate? What, you want to be a fucking hater at pride parade? And now you don't want to engage? You came here looking for attention. Now you got fucking attention. So tell me why you think it's fucking 18 when science clearly says 5 years old, they know what their gender is.
I don't care what science says about their age.
Oh,
They
so you don't
shouldn't be
care
able to
about
consent.
science. You don't
I
fucking
don't-
care about science, and
They
yet you
shouldn't be
guys
able
are
to
the
consent.
always
He's
the
not worth
ones
engaging.
saying science says this.
Children shouldn't be able to consent to serious medical
Yeah,
procedures.
that
until they're
doesn't
18.
happen. So you're living a lie. You're talking a lie.
This
and you're
guy's a
promoting
fucking
hate,
idiot.
Because that's a lie.
You're a fucking
There's no
idiot.
Kids.
Children,
Where are you
children
getting that
take
from?
sex hormones. They take
No,
hormones.
where are you getting that from? You're being fed a line of bullshit from what, Fox News?
So if this
One
isn't happening,
America,
then you would,
that's hateful.
So if this doesn't
You're
happen, you would
causing hurt,
support.
man.
If this doesn't
Why
happen,
bring it
You're
Stop
not
interrupting
going
me.
with
Bring it
fucking
here.
science.
Stop
Science clearly
interrupting
said
you.
5 years old. You're fucking ignoring science. You're
You're not
listening
worth
to
it. Keep your
fucking
hand out of
right-wing
my face.
bullshit.
Keep your hand out of my face.
Oh, look, I'm not fucking touching you. You came here to a pride parade. Now you want attention. Now you got fucking attention. Hey? Is what? You thought this would be a surprise? You thought you'd come down with a fucking trans
I'd
kid
love to-
can't
I'd
consent
love-
sign?
Miss, I'd love to engage with you about the sign if you'd like. The issue with, I'd love to engage with you about the sign if you'd like. I'd love to talk to you. So the issue is that I don't support any sort of gender affirming care to children under the age of 18 because they can't consent to it. The whole point of why I'm doing this is I'm a free speech protester. I want to make sure that people understand that opposing opinions in public are acceptable.
Yeah, but you can't change people's opinions. Opinions
Which
are
is fine.
opinions.
Which is fine. People can. Well, I think I might be able to change some people's opinions, but you're right. There are opinions I can't change, and I'm okay with that. You can ask me anything you
think
like.
your
I'm happy to
stupidity
engage
is
with
going to
people like.
convince intelligent people?
No, maybe not.
Science clearly says 5
Miss, I'm
years
really happy to
old,
engage
gender
with you.
identity is formed in kids. And you're
Can you
fucking
do me a
saying
favor,
wait
though?
till
I'm not
18.
hard of hearing. I worked in a nightclub my whole life. Can I just have you speak up a little bit? I won't think you're yelling at me.
Hard of hearing, you're hard of thinking. That's your fucking problem.
It's just there's just only one day, you know, where people who do support this sort of stuff can celebrate this sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
and you got to
So
fucking...
if there ever was,
364 other
buddy, step off
days.
my foot now. Step back.
You have
Step back.
364 other
Step
days.
back.
You touch me, oh, be assault.
Step
I
back.
fucking dare you.
You just assaulted me by stepping on my
I didn't
foot.
touch you.
Ladies, I'm really sorry. Can I answer your question? I support LGBT, so I'm certainly not homophobic.
You don't support LGBT with a sign like that.
I don't support T, I support LGBT.
You're a fucking hater, and you come to a pride parade, and you don't think you're gonna get attention?
I don't mind
I'm
you
fucking
yelling.
transgender, okay?
I can see
That
that.
fucking sign hurts.
You're very clearly mentally ill.
Oh, well,
You're not going to intimidate me, little man. Now step
no,
the
I'm not
fuck
gonna
back.
touch you. I'm just gonna stand here
You guys want to call the
and
cops?
keep you the center of a fucking attention. Because that's what you clearly want.
No, I'm not. You're causing the disturbance.
No. You're
Understand the
provoking
laws.
intentionally.
Understand
no,
the
he's shown
laws.
himself
You're
to
creating
be
the disturbance.
intellectually disingenuous.
You're
kid.
creating the disturbance by trying to prevent me
I
from using my
marshaled
lawful
the
access to
very
the
first
square.
pride and
You're coming here to be an asshole. That's what you're doing. You could have chose any other day. You chose a pride parade.
Correct, I did.
Exactly. So you're trying to be a fucking asshole.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay.
You're not obeying science. You're just like a fucking
touch
hater.
my sign.
Okay, tell me what right-wing bullshit you listen to.
Don't touch my sign.
Oh, don't touch your sign. What, are you gonna whine? You're gonna cry?
You're not engaging me with in good faith. I won't engage with you.
Oh, you're not engaging me in good faith. You came to a fucking pride parade. Oh, is that all you're gonna do? You're gonna just turn around?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, science, you can't ignore science. You can't ignore the laws which support transgender people in Canada, okay? You are the fucking minority.
Do you understand what protest is about?
Yeah, and I'm protesting you, okay? You
Don't
just
put your
don't
hand
like
in
my
my face.
fucking style.
Don't put your hand in my face.
I
Keep
didn't
a
fucking
reasonable
touch
distance.
you.
Keep a reasonable distance.
Excuse me, this is reasonable enough.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to step away from you. Keep a reasonable distance. Thank you. That's a reasonable distance.
Yeah, so, like, I'm just gonna stand here and fucking block your sign. How about that? Hey, you wanna be a fucking hater?
Buddy, keep your distance. Buddy,
You touch me, it's gonna be assault.
Buddy, keep your
You know how
distance.
many people are videoing this?
Yeah, and they're seeing you assault me and repeatedly
not
cause a
fucking-
disturbance. Please stop causing a disturbance.
You are being a hater of Pride Parade.
Please stop causing a disturbance. Please stop causing a disturbance.
Oh, he's crying. He's whining. Oh, this is not what you expected.
Get out of my fucking face.
Oh, you getting angry now?
Get out of my face.
Oh, you getting
You're
angry?
getting into my square.
Oh, yeah.
Get out of my public space.
Oh, you getting angry? Fucking
Can you call the
hater.
police, please?
You have the cops coming.
He's causing a disturbance by preventing me to have this.
She. See, there's your hater bullshit going on again. What, you honestly thought you'd just sit here and not get attention with a fucking sign like that?
Touching you? You're not.
Yeah, I'm not fucking touching you.
Do anything.
Yes, she can. It's causing a disturbance. She's getting in my space and she's preventing me from expressing my political views.
I'm not
That's the
suppressing anything.
definition
You
of-
got your sign. I'm not
You can't
touching
stand
you.
directly in front of my
You're
sign.
free to walk around just like you're doing. Hey, we're doing this dance. Come on, buddy. Ooh, yeah, let's.
Calm down. Let's go. What the fuck? Let's go.
Have a good day, sir. Have a good day, sir. Ugly freak. For what it's worth, that is illegal. It's the definition of causing a disturbance. Agreed. Leave the protesters alone too.
You're allowed to do whatever you like.
He doesn't understand that the way that the law works is that I can stand on the street corner and say whatever I want as long as I don't block the street corner. As long as I don't stop people from doing their normal thing. What he was doing was causing a disturbance. Not acceptable what he did. And I'm going to speak to the cops when he shows up.
Afraid as everybody else.
Yep. And what he did was not acceptable. There's a lot of people who would have been intimidated off the street corner from that.
I would have knocked him.
I have way more patience than that, and he comes up to my nipples. So.
See, I don't have patience for that.
And the problem is that if I start pushing him away,
Yeah, I know.
and now I'm gay bashing, right?
Well, the cops come and they
Yeah.
always just tell them go away, no charges.
Okay. To be honest, I respect that. I really, truly do, because of the nature of my sign. I don't accept liquids from people and food and stuff that can be tainted, it can be drugged. I'm not saying you can, but I hope you understand. Can I shake your hand for the offer? I still won't trust it, brother. I'll shake your hand. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. I really do. I hope you understand. Needles exist. They can shoot stuff in the water, make me sick. All right, now I'll take it. If you're going to do that, I'll take it. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Have a good day, buddy. Yeah,
That's where I put the drugs.
I might need that. Oh, yeah, perfect. Sweet. Have a good day, brother. Why do you think I care?
Oh, yes, that guy, yes, finally. Thank you. Nice seeing you again, sir.
Pardon me?
Nice seeing you again, sir.
Thank you. Have a good day. I appreciate you being polite.
Oh my God. Trans kids can't consent.
The guy in the blue. Right there. Very obviously an undercover cop who witnessed the whole thing with that guy. Agreed with me it was causing a disturbance. And did nothing.
microphones and all that, or nothing like that yet?
I had somebody getting right up in my grill and give me a hard time. A bunch of people screaming at me. Nothing crazy.
It's not even like you're saying that sign isn't like very outrageous.
No doubt. It's pretty impressive that people are against me simply saying that kids can't consent for the shit.
If we
till
took
they're
away
18.
the first word of your sign, it's the same message.
Yep.
Or replaced any type of word with the first word.
Exactly.
But yeah.
But it bothers them because I'm going. And when you want to be honest, is what really irks me the most is that their real argument is just, well, the kids will kill themselves if we don't allow them to do this. And I go, I'm sorry, but that's emotional blackmail. It really truly is.
Not even back that up. I've heard.
So yes, there's very little studies to show that actual transitioning has any impact on the suicide rate.
Right.
If anything, social acceptance may be reduced.
I've heard a lot of stories about down the line.
It's iffy. It's kind of about the same, little plus, little minus. So I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, I'm not. I don't even know.
No, I know. I'm not disagreeing with your premise. I think that what it is that there was an initial Swedish study, and then there was a follow-up on that study. And what it found was after about 10 years after transitioning, there was a real suicide problem.
Yeah, that's I think what someone I heard talking about.
And that's what makes me concerned is that I'm all for. I mean, maybe not all for is the wrong word, but adults can do what they like.
Freedom school, right?
So if they're 18, they can make those choices. I may not agree with them. I'd like to talk them out of it, but at the end of the day, they can make those choices. I have real issues with kids making those choices. That bothers me, and I think it's dangerous.
I'd agree.
Good.
Now, do you have a core issue with transitioning in general?
Yes and no. I think that it's mental illness. I really truly do. I don't think that affirming it in what we're doing is healthy. I don't think that we should be trying to convince them to embrace something that is very clearly, for lack of a better term, a delusion.
Almost it's like a norm now. When I could compare it to people born without a pinky. That's the thing. It happens, and maybe there are trans, like people who are truly not
gender dysphoria is the word you're looking for.
Thank you. Maybe that truly is a thing, but I think that it is a much smaller percent than anyone says, and it's a slippery slope. When a tomboy girl or a feminine feeling boy in grade school feels that way and not totally in place, that's the avenue that they are just convinced to take.
I did this almost the exact same protest in Collingwood last year, and I had a very wonderful discussion with a trans man, and I almost said those exact words to her. I said, why isn't being a tomboy okay? And she was like, what do you mean? I said, why isn't being a masculine girl okay? I said, why do you have to transition to male?
Not every woman is going to be feminine.
Exactly. I said, well, fucking I don't care who a woman's a mechanic or a fucking carpenter or something. I'm not for it. Yeah. You know, and most of them can't do it. That's beside the point. But I'm happy.
Neither can I.
But exactly, right? It's all about equality. Let the ones that want to do it, do it.
If you want to acquire the skill, you can.
Exactly. But to me, this is... it feels to me that the medicine is backwards, and it's because of the emotional blackmail. It really is that if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to kill myself. And I really don't like that line of argument, and I pushed back on it multiple times now today.
It shouldn't. That shouldn't stand in any like.
It's not a real argument. It's,
any establishment, any argument that is null.
And it's kind of like I put it as like, well, like what would you say if your girlfriend looked at you and was like, well, if you break up with me, I'll kill myself. Well, it's not an argument to stay with her. Right.
You need help, whether or not I'm with you then.
Exactly. Right. And that's where I look at it is that I think that, to go back to your point about the percentages staying on, I think that a lot of it is that they think it's a panacea. They think that it's a one-pill solution, so to speak, to get rid of all their problems. And I think what happens is that they do the transition and then they go, oh my God, it didn't fix anything. And now they're still depressed and they've done all this.
And now I'm actually further from what I was.
Further from getting help, and I've made irrevocable changes to my body and my body and who I am. And that's why I'm like, listen, if you're an adult and you want to make a mistake and you want to do something that will harm you.
I mean, I could get a jaw reconstruction right now. I could also go and get boobs put on.
You can go climb a mountain and jump off if you want to. I mean, you can go
there's a lot of
deep water scuba diving with a scuba tank. I mean, there's lots of stupid shit that people can do when they're adults, but we don't let kids do it.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at, where kids can't consent to it. Right?
That's so silly.
And it makes people
like
so
if it was just kids can't get...
right? I had one lady come up and go, "Oh, kids can consent to sex," and I was like, "Excuse me?" I was like, "You can go to hell, lady." I was like, that was where I got. So I'm a free speech advocate. I protest quite a bit like this, and I'm actually going to go down to the parade in a minute just to be fun. But I protest quite a bit, and one of the things I don't do is I don't yell at people unless they yell at me, and I don't engage with people unless they engage with me, because that's the whole point, right? Is to be like, you have to deal with opposing viewpoints in public, and you have to deal with it. You can't get angry, you can't assault us, you can't scream at us, you can't do stuff like that. So it's important that this happens. So when that lady came up, I kind of lost my nerve a little bit, and it's like, lady, no, that's not okay. You don't get to say that to me, that kids can consent to sex. Go fuck yourself, lady.
I assume you have kids?
No.
Okay, me neither. I follow a guy, Mr. Freedom. He's a roofer. I followed him for years, and since COVID and the Ottawa thing, he's all been about freedom, and that's kind of his identity now. Anyways, today, I think today was supposed to be the first day of school, or the other day, something like that, and he is going to now homeschool his children.
Good.
And they were just going to start kindergarten.
Homeschool your kids. I wouldn't have my kids in the public education system.
I was because I don't have kids. I've never thought about this, but they're teaching a lot of misinformation, I suppose.
So it's not even for that. So first of all, I have an issue with what I feel is indoctrination going on in the schools in the sense of this. But at the same point, I don't think the public schools are good. I don't think they teach our kids worth a damn. And there's a lot of bloat and there's a lot of garbage in those schools.
How old are you?
38.
I'm 30. When I went to school, irrelevant shit the whole time.
Yep. I went to college. It was the same thing, man. Like, why do I got to take an Indigenous Studies class when I'm doing woodworking? Now, don't get me wrong. In woodworking, there was a reason. We learned about like steam bending birch and birchwood boxes.
History involved,
in the woodworking side of it.
I went to college for renovations, so I get it. There's all the
and you had to do all kinds of bullshit too.
Yes, the uninvolved stuff.
No. Well, it's like I said, the main reason I do this, even though I fully agree with this, I'm not pushing back on that, is to make sure that people recognize that this is Canada. We have freedom of expression in this country, and you may not like the fact that I'm saying this, but you can't do anything about it.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who would push back upon this who are absolutely petrified to do so.
If your sign said "fuck this, fuck that," then someone could stop you, right?
No.
Really? Even if it was like
I hold signs regularly that say "fuck the police" and stand on the street corner.
I thought there was a rule where.
So what you're talking about is Criminal Code 175.1. Yes,
continue.
I know. Yes, where it goes that you're not allowed to cause a disturbance by swearing, yelling, fighting, and whatnot.
Right, like disturbing the peace.
Correct.
Okay.
The issue is let me ask you this. I have a point behind this question. I'd like you to define what disturbance means.
Anything that interrupts the norm in a bad way, for lack of a better word.
That's better than most people have given me, and I'll give you kudos for that. You get a thumbs up for me because that was very close.
That's what
it's still missing some things.
What it means, sort of, when I think of it.
Right. So the issue is that I've talked to a number of police officers about this, and what they do is they go, well, if I'm disturbed by your sign, then off you go.
No.
And I'm going, no, that ain't how it works.
You're just butthurt.
Exactly.
That's
right. And it sets a perverse example. It makes it so that way other people can go, no, I don't like that sign, so you get rid of them.
That's freedom of speech.
Exactly. But what it is the actual definition is preventing the normal use and access to the public square by a normal citizen. So for example,
you have to be preventing someone from doing something.
Yes. So for example, I can stand on a street corner holding a sign that makes everybody angry. Every single person, they'd be furious and screaming at me. It doesn't matter as long as they can cross.
What if you're creating a crowd that's stopping?
Not my problem. That's their problem.
Indeed.
That's them. That's me. Right? It's not me causing the problem. It's the same thing as like if I'm on the street corner and the cops all surround me and the cops go, look, we're stopping the street corner now because of you. You guys can leave. It's not me that's stopping the
protesting
traffic.
on the street right there.
Absolutely not.
Illegal.
Because I'm stopping traffic.
These taxi and the truck things all not
absolutely illegal.
Yeah, not legal.
Now the honking was legal, and I disagree with the court case that was on because it makes no sense. The judge was like, "Oh, there's no meaning behind honking," and I'm like, "Are you fucked?" I'm like, "They're supporting the convoy. There's a message behind the honking, you fuck." And that's
so. What were people getting tickets for honking?
Yeah, they declared that it wasn't a lawful use of expression, and I'm like, "No, it definitely is."
I'm sorry, but the horn is there for communication purposes.
And it was like, no, that's the whole point, right? And that's what makes me protest. That's what makes me concerned is that there are a lot of people right now that think that oh, I don't like your sign, I can get it taken down, or I'm going to come up and I'm going to assault you, or I'm going to get in your face and do it. I have a question for you, boss. You're a police officer. How come you didn't arrest that guy?
I'm not a police officer.
I don't believe you.
I'm retired.
You're talking to your lapel. You're walking around the same area, and I know a cop walk. Said you're talking to your lapel.
No, I'm not a cop. I did welding fitting my whole life.
Okay.
And I
So
retired 2 years ago.
glad to hear that, because I was concerned that you were in plain duty and you saw that you didn't do nothing about it. So I understand that. No, that makes sense now.
I was just standing here watching them.
Makes sense.
Just to see.
There's a trans person like right up
Just to
in
see
my
if
grill.
something,
If it escalated.
yeah, if the cops come, I would tell them what happened.
Good. I really appreciate that. I hope you know where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Where I was going, bro, that was blatantly illegal what that guy was doing. Why didn't you arrest him? I was like, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
but I'm not a cop.
No, I know. I get that now, yeah. You're welcome to join the conversation.
They shouldn't even be in your face.
No, they shouldn't. No. He not only did...
Because the law is, I think, expectation of
Yes.
privacy and distance. You're in my space.
Pretty much, and after I had warned him a number of times, like there was one guy, and he I didn't like that he touched me, but he touched me and turned me to get a photo, and I could have smacked him. I could have just grilled him right there, because I was like, what are you touching me? Like, what the fuck? But it was like he was somewhat polite about it, and I didn't warn him. So I was just like, yo, don't touch me, and he didn't touch me after that. But it was like that guy, he got right up in my grill, he was touching me all the time. I was like, buddy, don't touch me, step back, keep your distance. Yeah.
He was just trying to get you to hit him.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what it was, because then he could scream fag dashing and go, you beat me up because I'm a trans person. Meanwhile, he's fucking in my grill.
Just watching.
Yeah.
So
And I
then
thoroughly
I'm a witness,
appreciate that.
right? I'm a witness to what happened.
And I thoroughly appreciate
That's
that.
the only reason why I stood here.
Thank you. And what did bug me about that was I don't think he realized that he was the one causing the disturbance. Going back to what we were talking about, he was literally blocking my sign. He was like, and it's like, no, dude, you're stopping me from doing my lawful use of the activity, right?
He's right in your face, eh? And then you turn around and you get in your face.
That's a disturbance of peace because
because he's stopping my lawful action.
I don't know. Like I said, I don't have that much patience. It would escalated quickly if they had a couple this close.
You've got a pretty important role that you take on when you do this.
Yes.
Well, especially if somebody's right there.
Exactly. You have to be prepared.
Me, I'd be going, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is that as a free speech advocate, I can't go that far.
Oh,
I know, you know, I'm just kind of adding on to it. And as much as I'd love to, if I speak to the cops today, I'm going to tell them to go cite that guy for causing a disturbance, because people who are protesting shouldn't have to put up with that.
You have as much right to stand here.
Yes, as they do to protest down the street.
Do the same thing and protest. No big deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. I'm not yelling at people. I'm not screaming at people. I'm not throwing out like homophobic slurs and what have you. I'm just standing here holding the sign. And like he said, you take that off, right?
Yeah. Kids can't do anything, but they get consenting. It's weird, eh?
Yeah, that's what makes me
It's all
concerned.
weird when you get, like they always say, they're going after our kids now.
Yep. I almost thought about holding a sign that said "No pride for pedos," but then they'd think I was calling everybody a pedo, so I decided to go with this one. And like I said, I'm pro LGB, man, so I don't have any problem with fucking.
And there is a good and a bad side of your side too. Like there's a lot of people who will. And all these people are pedos.
Oh yeah, no, those are idiots.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah. No, there are certainly some people that are to the very far extreme on that, and I don't agree with that. I mean, I think there are certainly some people in the movement that are trying to encourage children and the whole pedophilia and the whole MAP stuff, and it disgusts me. But I also think that there's a large portion of the people in this movement that would actively push against that. So,
yeah, probably.
Oh, for sure.
That's why I didn't hold the sign. But I'll happily hold this one. Got a good vibe, except for the first 5 minutes.
Because the people who will half agree, like what you were just describing, won't come talk to you because they're here and they're dead set in their ways, and that would to talk to you would be that they're wrong.
I will say this: there was a gentleman. I wish I could see him. He's running one of the booths. He's a non-binary trans guy with long fingernails now. Very polite, very friendly. Came up to me, gave me a great conversation. Super awesome. I didn't misgender him. I didn't treat him like with disrespect. I really enjoyed that conversation. I said so to him. So I do agree with you. I think there's a lot of people who would be hesitant about engaging a counter-protester or push back against views within the community, but there are some.
Then you're going to have one like that gets in your face. Get away from me.
And unfortunately, it was pretty obvious that he was suffering from some pretty serious mental illness. Pretty serious mental illness. And that's why I tried to stop engaging with them, where it's like, okay, you're not engaging with me, you're just screaming at me and trying to fight me. Oh yeah, because it's fun.
Cop showed up to be a witness to what happened.
Trust me, brother, I like watching my videos too, where people fight me.
There's probably going to be 100 videos taken of anything that happens to you.
Brother, hey.
I figured.
Well, and I don't record it for any other reason but my safety. I've been arrested by the cops and they've made up a whole list of bullshit.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't a coincidence that was just peeking out like that.
Well, I held one in Collingwood that said, fuck the police. Because that's an important one too. If you can't criticize the state, who can you criticize, right? It's a very important fundamental right. Okay? Freedom of expression, good for you. And they scoop me off the street and they say, yeah, that's what bugs me all the time. They wait. Cowards. They do. You know what? I have nothing but respect for somebody who pulls up and says, yeah. Or even if you're going to talk shit, at least do it when you're next to me.
Like, tell me your views. Why do you feel that strongly?
Yes.
Tell me.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah,
See,
why do you want to push kids to do that? You know? Especially I think the pubic blockers.
Yes, the hormone blockers.
Shit like that.
Yep.
10 years old. Then I heard they were saying that, but you can go, if you go on them, you can go off them, and you'll still catch up to, you know.
See that one I understand. And if there is significant long-term study showing that there really isn't a major problem, or something that's known as very minor, I'm not really opposed to that.
You think you can catch up those years?
Well, that's what the study would show, right? And that's where I'm going. If it doesn't, then I'm right there with you. Fuck that. I don't want to have kids consent to anything that would have major impacts, really fuck with their development or something like that. But that one I get. I really truly get that one where they're like, listen, if we can safely put a pause to it until you're of age to make that decision yourself.
Yeah, that's cool of me too. Like, yeah, why not?
You can't vote until you're 18. You can't do that.
Yeah, and that's
a kid can fucking say, hey, I want my nuts cut off.
No, and that's where I'm against that.
Yeah,
but we're going the hormone blockers. If they've proven long term, they're totally safe and they can turn it back on, and I'm somewhat okay with it.
I see.
Because there's no real side effects or harm, right? It's just kind of like, you want to make that decision when you're an adult, well, wait until you can make that a decision. Right? But it's I don't think that the science is there yet in order to justify that stance yet.
But would one make an argument that by the time I've turned 18, I'm too masculine or feminine for my liking?
Well, that would be what the hormone blockers.
Even still, like, because it's not like 100% effective, is it?
Yes, it is. It stops your...
Like, completely, truly...
So there might be side effects. There might be some things like maybe it doesn't stop some platelet growth or something minor. Maybe it doesn't do it 100,000%. But as far as my understanding of the drug is, it does stop puberty.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
Sorry? I'm happy to engage. I'm friendly and polite. Okay? So, yeah, that's my concern. Okay. It's a real shame, but all right.
Then you can't consent.
Yep. Right? And that's where I'm at, is if those drugs are going to cause major side effects, major harm, and you can't consent to that yet because you're not of age, and your parents can't consent to that either. Sorry. Yes. Sorry, buddy. Yeah. Really cough on me like a child? I didn't care about COVID. Do you think I care about you coughing on me? Jesus. See, people are deranged.
Unvaxxed?
Yeah. Bro, I'm like freaking 37 and great health. Why would I get vaxxed?
Yeah, like... yeah, I thought it was silly. My parents didn't even like vaccine me when I was a baby. I got suspended from school because I didn't have all my proper shit, and then my mom had to tell them that I have a natural immunity.
Yeah.
And so when all this happened, I was like...
See, that was one of the things that I said to my girlfriend. As I was talking to her, and I was like, I'm not anti-vax. I said, I'm conscientious about taking any medicine. I said, if I'm going to take anything, I want to consider why I'm taking it, for what purpose, why. Like, for example, the polio vaccine. It only exists in like the buttfuck nowheres of Pakistan. Why the fuck am I taking it? Right? And it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not pushing back against the concept of vaccines or herd immunity or something. I'm just going, Exactly, but I'm going, if it doesn't exist anywhere near us, then why am I even taking any risk whatsoever of any sort of side effect?
So what do you protest for?
So
I'm literally just here just for the talk about it.
No worries. I'm very friendly and polite, no problem at all. So basically my issue is that I don't think that children are capable of consenting to any sort of medication or medical procedures until they're 18. I think it's pretty straightforward, right? It says things like hormone blockers, if they've been proven through long-term studies to make it so that way it's a simple flip and switch and no problem, no side effects. Sorry?
Oh, sorry. I thought you said it. Yeah, I thought you were like, wait, it does now? I was like, what?
No,
my brain's out there. Yeah, sorry about that.
There is some issues with hormone blockers and stuff. I don't think they have long-term testing on them and whatnot. I don't feel comfortable giving them to kids, and I don't think they can consent. But I understand the moral reason why they're doing that. That one I get.
It's like the COVID shots. They can get that in the year, but they can't cure like cancer and nothing.
Say that again?
It's like the COVID. Like you can get shots within the year, but they can't.
Yeah. Exactly.
I know.
gotta make that paper, right?
I'm more of the neutral. Like I understand everyone's points. Like sometimes, some people want to have fun. So I completely understand.
And keep in mind, I'm very pro LGBT. I think people can do whatever they want.
You're not screaming. You're not yelling at people. No one's coming up to you screaming at you.
Oh yeah, they are. Yeah,
are they? Oh no. At least I haven't seen that yet. So.
No, it was in the beginning. They kind of fucked up
okay.
now. They kind of learned that I won't be intimidated off the corner. So.
You can't let them.
No, of course not.
That's.
No, but it's.
That's the ones that give the bad names. That's what.
Absolutely. So one thing I'm hearing, and like that guy was saying, you got to set a good impression for stuff like free speech and your protests and stuff. I can't be here screaming hate at people. It's just not going to do any good.
Didn't they pass that new bill now? Like if you're saying protesting, like you fucking get arrested now.
So they proposed a law that would keep it from 100 meters from
that one.
drag queen story times.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
And I think it, just like the one that surrounds abortion clinics, I think it's blatantly unconstitutional. Yeah. And I think that Section 1, which is what justifies it, is disgusting to me. Just disgusting to me.
Yeah.
Because if you have any sort of restrictions on free speech like that in the public square, it bothers me. Because what's next? It's going to be on here. It's going to be on, like, I can't protest this on the whole day. Like, just nonsense. People tell me to move corners. I'll shake hands.
Thank you for letting me talk to you.
No worries, man. Thank you for being polite and friendly. I appreciate that a lot. Well, exactly.
I'm human being.
Exactly. Have a good day, brother. Love the hat. What's your name again, brother?
David.
David? Robert. I'm not sure if we introduced. I forget.
Nice to meet you.
Definitely.
Just looking around, I think part of the problem is that a lot of people aren't very capable of having these important discussions.
Yes. A lot of people engage with emotion, and they don't take the time in order to calm down and to think of the logic argument or the discussions that are had. And that's why I really appreciate people like you, people like that gentleman, and other people, even some of the trans people who came up that were polite and friendly and engaged in a discussion about it and had a good repertoire, even if they disagreed. Thank you. I appreciate you being polite. And I think that it's really important for people who are trying to do what I'm doing to get those sort of engagements in that discussion.
Definitely.
Because I'm sure that there's a lot of people right now that are posting about transphobe on the street corner. And I bet you that there's a couple of people that were like, you know what, I talked to him. He's not screaming hate at people. He's just standing there politely and talking to people. So I'm sure there's going to be a couple of people that'll say that, and that's all it takes sometimes.
You're not proposing anything utterly ridiculous.
Exactly. Well, and the funny thing is even if I was, I could still stand on the street corner and do it.
Right.
But it's also...
But it's not even that. This shouldn't be so abrasive.
Agreed. Well, it's okay to be abrasive, but I know what you're saying, which is that people shouldn't be viewing this as hostilely as they should, because it's actually quite a reasonable and defensible position.
Exactly.
And allow me to elaborate, because you might find this interesting, but I did this protest in Collingwood. So again, I'm a free speech protester, so I'm not specifically like a trans protester or anti-gay or anything like that. I held a sign that said hate is healthy. And I think it was one of the most fun signs I've ever held, because somebody came stomping up to me and said, who do you hate? Expecting me to blurt out like blacks and Jews or something, right? And I said, I hate rapists and pedophiles. It's like, don't you? And she said, yes. And then she went, and it just dawned on her what, and that's what I mean, is that getting those engaging discussions about those complicated discussions, like, is hate okay in society? Of course it is. What matters is what we direct that hate to, because it's an important social structure in order to find out what we find morally repugnant to society. Right? Yeah. So for me, it's something like doing that is really important.
like
so
it.
I think that was one of the most fun signs I ever held. I engaged in some really great discussions about it.
You probably go. Your days are probably roller coasters. That can't be easy on your emotional longevity. You must go home tired, not physically.
Well, yeah, of course, yeah. I mean, it certainly is a stressful experience. The one thing that makes it easy for me, and I don't want to say easy like I'm taking away from the stress of it, because nobody really could do this. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. I was a bouncer for a decade. So when I'm surrounded by a handful of people, I'm comfortable. You surrounded me with a whole bunch of people, I don't care. Because to be honest, and this will sound like hubris, but at a certain point, you can't just stack more people. There's not enough room.
Yeah.
If you got 8 people that are like their size, I don't care how many of you guys you got. You're not going to take me down. You're just going to pile on top of me, and I'm going to stand there going,
taking them off.
Right? Like I was a bouncer for a decade. I know the size and strength that I have, and that's why, like with the him being like, oh, I'd push him away, I'd punch him in the face, and the other guy, I'm like, yeah, I know the limits that you can't cross, and if you cross it, then you're going to get hurt. And it's like, but other than that, you don't really intimidate me. You know what I mean? Like to that guy, I mean.
Right.
So it's like, I know what you mean, but let's put it to you this way. The day after the George Floyd died, there was a big protest in Colorado. I protested that alone to like fucking 1,000 people, and I almost got killed. So that didn't scare me, nothing really well. I had a sign that said all lives matter, and then on the back I said police abuse of any color is wrong. And fucking they nearly killed me. It was fun.
This is a very reasonable message.
Not to them.
Silly.
I think that we're starting to see that there's some ideological issues here. There's some dogmatic issues. There's some propaganda issues in the sense of like there's some people that do not want to see opposing views, and they will push back hostily against it. And I understand some of it, but some of it I really don't.
I think something relevant is when someone's wrong. Like I don't really have a job, and I've been thinking lately. I'm like, fuck that. I'm gonna get a job. I need money.
Yeah.
But like, dude, I'm 9 to 5, slave my life away. Fuck that. I don't feel like life should be about selfishness and about like, I don't know.
I'm okay with a life about selfishness, but I don't think that society
day by day. Most.
Yes, I know what you're saying, and I think it's more that society as a whole doesn't have the ability to provide the sort of life that we were told that we should be expecting.
Yeah.
And I think that the pushback that you have is more against the life-work balance that exists in society right now.
Right.
And I'm right there with you.
Because when I talk to anybody about it, and this is kind of where I was going, is it's almost impossible. Because this isn't how this person lived for their last 20 years or their last 30 years, and to even acknowledge what I'm saying is to say that I've been living potentially incorrectly. And even that potential, no one wants to live with.
So, before I even say this, I want to preface it with something important, which is that I think that women deserve the right to go to the workplace and work equally as men. Okay? I think that because of the war and the women taking the half the workplace, we've drastically fucked society apart in the sense of like, really like, everybody works twice as hard to get exactly what we had like fucking 40 years ago, where we had one person working and one person at home in their family.
One thing led to another?
Yes.
What happened?
Well, it was the men died from the war. Women had taken those jobs and they wanted to continue to work, which I'm okay with. But I think that there's been some drastic societal impacts by that. And again, not in the sense of like I'm against the right for them to work, which I'm not. But we need to recognize that we've caused a serious economic impact from that has drastically impacted life. And it's happened all over the world, right? And I don't think there's anything that can be done about it. I think the cat's out of the bag, so to speak, right? But to ignore that is folly. And I think that that's a major cause of the feelings that we have, as I share your opinions, towards the economy and the jobs that are existing and whatnot.
I see where you're coming from.
And I also think that globalism has really fucked us.
What exactly does that mean?
Jobs going overseas and not putting barriers in place to prevent it. We can't compete with Vietnam and China paying $1 an hour for labor. And our politicians should have taken efforts in order to protect our workforce by doing things like tariffs, preventing jobs from going overseas and stuff like that. So when I think about the jobs that we had in the past and how many jobs are now being occupied overseas, people like us, now I have a skill, you're a contractor, you have skills, so just ignore that for a second. But unskilled labor, if we worked in a factory, right now we'd be working in retail or we'd be working in service. Because all the manufacturing has left the country. Right, so there was a big squeeze. I'm very pro-immigrant in the sense of like I hold no bigotry, but unfettered immigration has really fucked us as well. We've ballooned that unskilled labor pool quite significantly, and it's impacting a lot of poor Canadians and stuff like that. And I very vehemently push back on that. So for me, we've done some great disservice to our people, and I think it's only going to get worse before it gets better.
Very interesting.
If you'd like, brother, I'd love to give you my number. You seem like a very reasonable guy, and you're asking some good questions. If you have other questions, you'd be happy to text me, and I'd be happy to answer.
Sure, why not? Do you have Instagram or something?
I'd give you my YouTube if you like, or I'll give you my email if you feel more comfortable. I don't have Instagram. I have a Twitter.
I don't use Twitter. What's your YouTube? I'll search you up.
Let me know when you're ready. I'll give you the channel.
I'm already on YouTube.
Okay, so Ranger like the military unit. John Apple Hotel Uniform. John Apple Hotel Uniform. I'm spelling it phonetically. No, you don't think you got me. No. So I'm spelling that phonetically. So Jahu, John Apple Hotel Uniform.
I wrote it all out. Just say it.
Yeah, Ranger Jahu.
Jahu?
If I may.
Yeah, here, take it.